First of all, thank you very much for taking some time out of your day. I didn't have the chance to talk to you yesterday, but obviously want to say congratulations, mate, for winning the European regionals for the second time in your career. Did you see it coming in advance, Jona?
Well, thank you first of all. And well, I did think I have a pretty good chance. I do think the bracket was also reasonably good for me. Clem was one of the harder ones, obviously, but also Lambo was a bit scary, but that went pretty smoothly. And Clem is always scary, but I was a bit very confident against him, but then I did get 2-0 behind, so that wasn't the greatest. But besides that, yeah, I was pretty confident I could pull it off.
Yeah, it was obviously a very different format this time around than it was in the past. Now, maybe for you that doesn't change a whole lot in the group, besides the fact that you had to play less games. So we're just going to take it from the beginning, then we'll talk about a couple of the games. How did you enjoy the Swiss group format overall? Would you say that that was an improvement, or you don't care too much?
I mean, I like this as it. I liked it as a player. Choose less games. Um, I mean, it's more like less play days is the thing part that I liked about it. I don't mind if I'm playing like on 3 days. I would play like all the 7 games. That would be fine. But I didn't really like the fact that I had like 7 play days in the groups before. So I did like this one more. But yeah, I do think the group stage also has its its flaws to some extent. But I liked it. I liked it.
What is the one flaw that you can think of immediately? What did you not love about it all that much?
Well, I do think it's a bit random. You might get some harder opponents there. For example, I think Wayne. He won against Showtime. He won against Spirit. Then he played against me. Then he lost to Hearthstem. I think his path, for example, got pretty hard, even though he had a really good start. I'm not sure. I guess that could happen anyways, to be honest. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like there's maybe a little bit more potential to just get some harder matches when it actually matters.
All right. Overall, for you in the group stage, obviously things went according to plan. You dropped one map against Wayne. He obviously had a flying start. Is there anything that you remember about that best of three? Were you surprised how well he was playing, or did you expect it to be difficult since Wayne is crazy and he was on a bit of a run?
Well, I mean, it's always a bit scary, but I do think, well, especially the first game, I did blunder a little bit because I was winning for the most of it, and then I kind of died. But yeah, I mean, I'm always a bit worried when I go into CVCs. There's a lot of scary things in that matchup, so it's never easy. But yeah, obviously, I'm pretty confident against Wayne in general. But yeah, he was just on a roll a little bit there, so that's good for him.
Mm-hmm. Entering the playoffs, there was one big difference this time around compared to the past, and that's obviously that this was single elim instead of double elim. I know, for instance, that Carmack, the man who ran IEM for all these years, he's always been a big advocate of single elim. How do you like it as a StarCraft 2 player, and did it change anything for you, or is it just the same that you show up and you're going to do your best?
No, it didn't really change anything. I mean, I always approach the same way, try my best, and just try to win all the matches. But well, again, I think it depends a little bit. But I mean, I personally don't mind this format, but I do feel like if I would get a very hard match early on, then I probably would mind it a little bit. But I feel like it's okay. I don't mind that it's less games. It has its own charm. I feel like the single elim, but it's also a bit. It's I mean I feel a little bit bad for Showtime. For example, I think Showtime's like I don't think it's unfair to say he was like top 5 player coming into here. I think he's really good lately. He's been doing really good in the ESL Opens and so on. And then he just lost to MaxPax in the first round, so that was very rough for him. But besides that, and that kind of little unlucky things, I didn't mind it too much myself.
As if you don't look at it from a player, you don't think about what like kind of implications single limb has on you. Just as a fan, do you find certain series more exciting knowing it is single limb, or does that also not change for you?
No, it doesn't change for me.
All right, good StarCraft is good StarCraft, and if you want to tune in, you always tune in.
Yeah.
All right. And we can talk a little bit about your run in the playoffs then. Obviously, this time around, I do feel that even the playoff bracket was played out a bit quicker, not just because it is single limb, but for instance, we started on a Wednesday rather than a Tuesday. And it's not that you had to be on edge for like 4 or 5 days in a row. So you started your journey on Wednesday against Gong Fu Banda. Obviously, on paper, that was one of the more one-sided series in the playoffs. Were there any concerns for you or just loving that ZVP and you were very confident?
No, I mean, I wasn't too worried. Kung Fu Panda is always a little bit scary in a way, but at the same time, after the first game, I knew it was going to be relatively comfortable because I feel like the first game I played extremely safe and I wasn't really exactly sure what he was doing, but then I kind of won. So normally that gives me a good sign going forward.
Second round, you went up against a good friend of yours, Lambo, one of the Zurich brothers in Europe. You already said it earlier. You touched upon it briefly. That is, of course, always scary, especially because Lambo, I know he had a weaker period where he swapped out his mice and he went to a much more normal mouse. But I felt over the last 2-3 weeks, Lambo was starting to hit his stride again a little bit. So I was looking forward to that one, and I thought that you were definitely going to sweat a little coming into it. Did the games play out in the way that you expected it to play out, or... talk to me about your best of 5 against Lambo.
Well, I mean, it's always hard to say what to expect when you play a CVC against, well, anyone really. And Lambo obviously does prepare, so I wasn't really exactly sure what to expect. But I guess for the most part, it did go about as I surprised. He did a little sneaky all-in in the first game. Second game, he did a little pressure move out. But I was a bit surprised he didn't throw any mutas in the blade there, but I guess he kind of thought I would be blind countering that or something. But yeah, I think again it's one of those series that's just kind of it's a 3-0, but I feel like it didn't necessarily have to be. But obviously I'm happy I managed to win those games. Mm-hmm. I mean, I just played really standard and he didn't really do anything really special, so it was relatively comfortable for me.
And then you had a day off and you could all get ready for that final day. Semifinals and finals were played yesterday. You went up against your good friend Clem. You guys have a lot of history in this tournament, especially in the upper bracket in the past. It often went your way. But lower bracket Clem was a real force to be reckoned with. Clem, I don't want to say that he looked weak or vulnerable, right? Because he did still beat Wayne, he did beat Elaser, but it wasn't necessarily the god tier TVC we've seen from Clem in the past. But then against you, after the first 2 games, Clem was obviously playing incredibly well. You guys had a banger of a game on Grass 1. I mean, the entire best of 5 as StarCraft fans, I think almost everyone loved it. A lot of people even said one of the best of 5s of the year. How did you go into it? And what goes through your mind after that first game on Dragon Skills and even more that crazy second game on Grass 1? Because I guess on Dragon Skills, we can kick off with map 1. Clem, you got a little cheeky, no?
Yeah, well, like I said, I was pretty confident going against Clem, but obviously it's never easy. And I do know that he's the ESL Pro or European regionals. That's where he always has his best performances, so I was a little bit scared. But yeah, first of all, I was very happy that he had a little bit weaker showings against in the earlier rounds. But at the same time, I didn't read too much into those because even the last DreamHack, I still remember when I won Clem relatively easily in the upper bracket, and then he played completely different in the losers bracket. So I feel like his play can change a lot during on different days. So I'm not reading too much into that, and I kind of followed my plans. I feel like sometimes maybe I would have just made the decision to play just standard every game because he didn't look that strong. So maybe I can just beat him like that every game. But luckily I didn't do that, and I decided to use some of my different strategies there as well. But yeah, I do feel like there was some missed opportunities in the early games for me. For example, the first game was just a really good build order setup for me since he went for the 2-1-1 Hellbat all-in. I mean, it's not really all-in, but at the same time, it's kind of is an all-in. Mm-hmm. And I had roaches there, so I feel like if he just didn't get past my roaches and kill all my drones, that would have been a very comfortable game for me. But just kind of went like that, and the second game he did outplay me there on the Crest1 map. I do feel like that 5th base always kind of screws me over because they can hit the mineral line from the bottom. So I'm not sure if I shouldn't be taking that one.
Which one? What was the 5th base that you took?
The middle one.
Ah, okay, yeah, the dead center one. Okay, yes, the forward
Yeah,
middle one.
that always, I feel like it doesn't, like, in practice, I never get punished that hard for it. But even against Battle P in the group stage, I got really hard. Like, that basis completely ruined my game. So I'm not sure if I should not be taking that one. But yeah, he played that game very well, and I didn't really get anything going there. So it was just a rough match. And obviously, the Ancient game as well had a really good start. I feel like that game should have been really easy for me. But again, he put a really good fight there, and almost actually. Well, I'm not sure if I was ever really losing in that one, but I do feel like it was way harder than it should have been.
Yeah, I think it had some scary moments. Like, I do want to talk a little bit about after Grass one, right? You said, okay, he clearly played very well. You put up one hell of a fight. It was ultra competitive for a long time. But then you're still down 0-2, Yona. Like, I know you've done it all. You've been there. You're around for so long. You've played so many tournaments. But what does that do to you? 0-2 down, semifinals. Is there a little voice in your head that's like, man, Clem, here we go again in this specific tournament? Or you still believed all along?
I did believe there, because I did have the 2 spicier builds in the last game, so I believed in those very much. To be honest, I actually didn't have a spicy build in the last game. I was supposed to do the roach thing on Dragon Scales already, but obviously with his build order, I didn't want to use it there. But yeah, I was reasonably comfortable still there, as long as I could win the Ancient game, and that was one of the better maps there. So if I just could pull that off, I had confidence in myself.
Yeah, I felt a real shift of momentum was your absolutely perfect defense against those two 12 Hellions and the Reaper on Ancient. You handled that about as well as I think any Zer could ever handle it. Was phenomenal defense. And after that, maybe, sure, it was still a game and Clem had his moments, but obviously you were in a very good spot. And then that final game, Neo Humanity, it doesn't happen often that we look at a game and we can definitely say that on this level, like, of course, everyone has done things on their own level and you have some fun, but on this level, on this stage, against a player like Clem, you blew us away, Yona. Like, multi-prong harass with Zerg, tunneling, or like burrowed roaches, roach drop in the main, queen drop in the natural. Where did you get this from?
Well, that was the Eric build, the 9 roaches and 3 queen drop a lord build. But obviously, the follow-up was just my own little freestyling. But yeah, to be honest, I don't think that was the right build to use in that moment, since what his build order was. But I think he was a bit flustered. He wasn't exactly sure what to do, so it did end up going really well for me there. But yeah, in general, if they don't make, well, I think even like 2 Hellions, it's not that amazing, to be honest.
Okay, well, I loved it, mate, and everyone in the chat was loving it. Then in the grand finals, you faced a man that you've obviously faced a couple of times over the last few months, but it was the very first time ever for him that he made it into the grand finals. We know that he's good. He did do great in Big's tournament a while ago, but this was obviously the one tournament where it mattered for MaxPax to step it up. He had a great run, won a couple PvPs like we know he's capable of, then defeated your good mate Spirit as well in the semifinals. And someone in my chat, Jonas, said a couple of days ago that on your own stream you said MaxPax's PvZ compared to his other matchups is not all that crazy. But I think he put up one hell of a fight. I felt he was playing very well. What did you make of the grand finals?
Yeah, I do believe that PvZ is MaxPax's weakest matchup, and I was extremely confident going up against him. I was kind of thinking there would be more variance in his play. He was kind of doing the same thing every game, but to be honest, it was working relatively well. I was having a really hard time, and yeah, I don't know. I was a bit surprised how much pressure he was putting there. Especially the 2 games I lost were kind of hopeless in a way. But well, to be honest, Ancient wasn't hopeless. I just lost the Prism, but the Royal was very hard. But yeah, I mean, he did play well. I'm pretty confident against his style in general. I do feel like what I do in general is just very good against his kind of game plan, and just pretty confident going up against him in general.
But do you think he played very well? Do you think he played better than you expected? Or would you say, like, no, I know that that's the level he has. I know that he's capable of making me work for it. But in the end, it kind of went as I thought it would go.
I do think I think it was harder than I expected. I thought it would be a bit easier for sure, but yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was him playing worse or better, or me playing worse or better. It was just I think he did a very good job there.
Are you? Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go. I had nothing smart to add.
Okay. I do feel like it's for the first time in a very long time that we truly have another player breaking into the upper echelons of the European scene. Like, obviously, it's been kind of well established for a while. Gabe is great, Showtime is great, you're great, Reyna's great, Elaser and Lambo. But it took a long time, and of course, we've got Skillas too, he deserves love. But are you happy to see that it's still doable for new players to also reach that level and finally duke it out with the very best?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always nice to see new players. Obviously, MaxPax has been pretty good already for a decent amount of time, but yeah, I mean, it's always nice. I mean, I don't, from players' perspective, I mean, it doesn't make a major difference, but just from the fans' eyes, even my fans' eyes, it's a nice thing.
I love it. So, Jona, I obviously want to know, yesterday night, you get the job done. Amazing series. Now you did a little interview with Divinisia, our Finnish caster. And what goes through your mind, right? What are the emotions of that moment? Because obviously you've won it all. You've won very big offline tournaments. This is just an online tournament for some. But the Euro Regionals, it means something. Like, what were the emotions and the things that you were thinking and the feelings that you had?
I mean, I don't know. I was just happy. There's not that many emotions there, but yeah, I mean, obviously winning is always great, and this is something I haven't won in. I don't really win the Euro regions too often. I think it was my second win so far. So it's well, I mean, I did win the challengers back in like 2018, but not with the new formats and that kind of stuff. It's pretty rare for me, so it's always a nice feeling. But to be honest, I was just so sweaty. I wanted to go to shower after the games.
Is there any celebration that you had planned for yesterday night or tonight, or is it just sleep like a baby and enjoy the victory?
No celebrations. I rarely celebrate anything, so just normal stuff. I did take a little break today. Didn't touch StarCraft even, so I guess that counts as a little celebration, I guess.
Then I have two more questions. First question was from the chat. Are you gonna see Jona party it up if he also wins Jönköping and Home Story Cup?
Well, I mean, it depends what partying it up means.
Staying around until the doors and close and the lights go out.
Well, I feel like I did that last time already.
Okay.
Even though I didn't win. Didn't I?
Yeah, no.
I stayed there for like 1 hour. That was kind of like maximal party already for me.
Okay, I look forward to it, mate. I obviously wish you all the best in these upcoming exciting weeks. And then I did have one absolute final little question, but now I forgot what I wanted to ask you. Is there anything else that you would like to add about this tournament overall? Obviously, you already said that you liked it. Any player performances besides yourself that you felt really stood out?
Yeah, I would say just Wayne was probably the big someone who did really good there, and it was a really unfortunate bracket for him. Would have been nice to see him go against someone else than Clem, but yeah, at least him. No one else comes to my mind, at least right now.
Cool. All right, mate. I'm gonna let you go because I know that you want to take it easy today. Thank you very much, Jona, for taking some time out of your day. Congrats on the big dub. It was indeed your second win. I think Reynor has 2, you have 2, and Clem has 5, I believe. That's what it currently is. So maybe there's still time to catch you.
Well, I'm not sure if there is, but maybe. We'll see.
All right, mate. I really look forward to seeing you in Sweden. All the best, and enjoy the victory. You absolutely deserve it. You played some amazing StarCraft. Any final words?
Well, just thanks to BASILISK as usual, and thanks to all the fans. That's all.
All right. Bye, Jona. Have a great Monday. I'm not going to ask if you're going to play the weekly because I know the answer, so enjoy your evening.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.